Military officials sounding the alarms about UFOs. Take a look at these recently declassified images, pictures that former intelligence officials have fought to bring to light. A new nonfiction series called Unidentified takes a closer look, and Diane Macedo spoke with some of the people behind it. Good morning, Diane.
George, good morning. Often when you think UFOs, you think sci-fi and spaceships. These insiders say because of that stigma, this topic is hard to talk about. But now they're speaking out, saying there are UFOs in U.S. airspace, and they need to be taken seriously. They're unidentified in U.S. airspace.
The object then appears to accelerate rapidly.
And military insiders say these UFOs are no joke. Now they're telling their stories in history's new docuseries, Unidentified, Inside America's UFO Investigation. Experienced military personnel are speaking out, warning that UFO sightings are on the rise and that the government needs to pay attention.
What's worst case scenario?
Well,
Have you thought about it?
I would tell you already, it's too late, because it's here.
The show examines a once secret government program charged with investigating UFOs and why the program's former director says he suddenly resigned. You were collecting data on these investigations that you thought was important, and the people in between you and the people at the top weren't passing that information along?
Because of stigma. You think of tinfoil hats and all these kind of wonderful little analogies of what it means to believe in UFOs, when in reality, these things are very real. We're talking about aircraft that can go from 0 to incredible speeds, hypersonic speeds, literally in the blink of an eye, and disappear over the horizon.
Unidentified also promises new evidence, new video, and exclusive interviews from eyewitnesses and government employees, all with the help of executive producer and former Blink-182 frontman, Tom DeLonge. What do you hope happens after people see this?
This is not just a show to entertain. This is a mechanism to change the way the government acts. You're going to see us dealing with the Senate, us meeting with the intelligence services of other governments, and everyone is coming out of the woodwork and saying, this is real, we got to do something about it, and it very well could be a threat, but we can't put our head in the sand.
We also reached out to the Navy, which tells us they take these reports very seriously and have even updated reporting guidelines in order to get as accurate a picture as possible of what is out there. George?
Fascinating stuff. Okay, Diane, thanks very much. We're joined now by Chris Mellon, former Deputy Assistant Secretary of Defense for Intelligence under Presidents Bill Clinton and George W. Bush, now part of this new show, Unidentified. Chris, thanks for coming in this morning. Let's put up the video again of these sightings and tell us, when you look at that, what are you seeing?
What I'm seeing and what the experts that we've brought in to evaluate these tapes are seeing is something that is frankly baffling. It's hard to understand, how do these vehicles maintain lift? How are they propelled? There are no wing surfaces, there's no exhaust. So there's nothing that we're familiar with that we've deployed in the air that has a power source other than chemical energy like fuel. These are so radically different than anything we're familiar with. And their performance is so advanced and so sophisticated, it's frankly just baffling.
So is it fair to boil it down to two possibilities? Either another country has leapfrogged the United States in technology, or extraterrestrial?
Those are the leading hypotheses, yes. And
what do you think?
I don't have a conclusion at this point. We're trying not to jump and leap to conclusions. We think that's actually an impediment to progress. Because once you start talking about aliens, a lot of people just shut down. Right, so what we need is more information. What we need to do is find out who's overflying our military bases, overflying our nation in some cases, facilities where we're developing the next generation of weapons out west and so forth. There's a violation of our sovereignty occurring, and there's an air safety incident. There have been near mid-air collisions. So our pilots are encountering these things. The information in the past has been swept under the rug. We're helping to give them a voice and bring this to the American people.
And there's a lot of information the government collects that hasn't even been examined.
It's absolutely true. In fact, there's a vast amount of information because of the sophistication of our technology that is stored digitally that is usually simply swept aside. So a radar operator, if something is going Mach 3, the radar will not even display that on his scope. Yet that information is there. So if we correlate some of these events with that data, we may gain deep insights into where these things are coming from.
I'm not sure you can answer this question, but how do you explain that there have been so many of these sightings and nothing has happened?
It is in part a social phenomenon. There's a stigma. It's been difficult to get people in the bureaucracy, in the military, and the intelligence community to understand they can deal with this without being penalized. Nobody's been assigned responsibility for collecting on this. So our different agencies and departments are not sharing information on this topic heretofore, not pulling it together. So the picture hasn't come into focus, and it's taken the pilots themselves speaking out publicly to really get this on everybody's agenda.
And they've continued to do it. Thanks for coming in today.
Thanks.
Unidentified Inside America's UFO Investigation premieres tonight on History.